What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Casually Fit Podcast. My name is Robert. This is episode 54. Thank you all for coming by today. Got some exciting things to talk about today. Got a fit fighter to show you, and just want to give you a couple tips. Really just a two-step method on how you can actually lose weight and kind of change your life with fitness, which I'll be getting into here in a second. But yeah, just want to say, hey, thanks for coming by today. You know, things are moving along, aren't they? We're almost at the end of the year. You know, we got new shows coming out. I wonder what kind of new scary movies are going to be coming out. We just had this Squid Game. That's like the talk of the town is Squid Game, which is, you know, I actually liked Squid Game. I liked most of it. To me, it was pretty predictable in a few areas. But it was definitely interesting. I found myself just watching every episode because even though I kind of knew what was going to happen, I still wanted to see it play out, which I would say that's a good show, right? You know, you can't be completely amazing. You know, not every show is going to be that way. But other than that, I mean, it was a very interesting show, and a lot of people dig it. I dig it. Right. I think I could have won some of those challenges for sure. Man, that first episode is insane. It's wild. I mean, that's what just hooks you in right there. Just mow down a bunch of people and you got people hooked, and now everybody watches it. Everybody loves it. Yeah, I don't know why I'm talking about this. This is a Casually Fit podcast. We talk about, you know, trying to get healthy, get in shape, all that. So let's get into that. So I want to give you just a quick Fit Fighter of the Week. Sorry, the YouTubers. I'm not going to have a screen recording this week. Everything will be running full steam next week. I'm going to try to get some sound bites in here and try to make this thing a little bit more immersive by next week's episode. But this week, we're going to actually go back a few steps, all right? But either way, so I want to give you the Fit Fighter of the Week. This person... I mean, this is a story, right? If you don't know this person, the Fit Fighter of the Week is Tyson Fury, right? Some of you might have watched his fight that he had with Deontay Wilder, the third fight that they had, the trilogy that they had. Some of you might have just watched that last weekend. Great fight. I didn't watch all of it. I plan to watch it from beginning to end. To be honest, I like MMA a little bit more, so I'm more excited to watch those fights. But whenever there's some big heavyweights fighting, you know, I'll tune in to some boxing. It's definitely interesting for sure, and it's still fighting, and I like fighting, watching it. But this guy, Tyson Fury, this story is pretty wild, and he's very open. I would suggest anybody right now to go cruise on the YouTubes, go to Instagram. I mean, he's very open about everything, you know, his mental health, everything that he went through. The reason why he's a fit fighter is because, you know, Tyson Fury's been fighting since he was in his 20s, and he's now like 33 years old. So he's been fighting for about 13 years. And when was it? It was about 3 years ago, right? When he's about 30, maybe late 20s, 30s, about 3 years ago, he wasn't competing anymore, and he weighed about 400 pounds. Now, Tyson Fury's a big dude. He is 6'9", I believe, and he weighed 400 pounds. So it's a lot of weight moving around. But this guy, you know, right now as it stands, he has, I believe, 31 or 32 wins and one decision and no losses. So when he went out of boxing, he was on top, right? And then he just went wild, doing cocaine, drinking a lot. Just not caring, kind of just, you know, lost everything, like lost his focus, lost everything, started eating a bunch. You know, he's a world champion and all this stuff. You know, we've heard this story plenty of times. And unfortunately, Tyson Fury found himself within a similar story. And he went all the way up. He was fighting at before, I think, around 280-ish, 270-ish, maybe just around 300 pounds before, I think a little bit less. Not too sure on that, but around in that area, in the area of 275 pounds. That's what he was fighting at before. Then he ballooned up to 400 pounds, not fighting, doing all sorts of drugs, messing around with too much alcohol, almost, he tried killing himself, really. He goes into this intense story of him, of when he was driving his sports car and he just had his foot to the pedal and he was driving over 100 miles per hour, and whatever happened, he just decided not to crash off the cliff or hit the wall or whatever he was about to do. He decided not to do it. And then from that moment on, he decided that he's going to get back into it and try to regain his titles and get back into boxing. I mean, this is all, when this guy's like just turning 30. Like, this is all happening, within a very short amount of time, which is wild. So in like 2018, that's when he started doing it. And there's a video of him running, especially when you see him now. He just weighed in at this last fight around 277 pounds, I believe. So he went from 400 pounds down to 277 pounds. And you can see this video that he recorded shortly after he decided that he's going to start running and he's going to get back into shape. You can just see him. He's much overweight. He looks completely different. Not completely, but he looks much different than he does right now. And he just went through this whole entire process. He went from, before he fell off, he went from being able to run like 20 miles, no problem, to he couldn't even reach the end of his block. When you gain that much weight, when you stop exercising, stop doing anything like that, even for world-class athletes, I mean, things fall off relatively quickly. The body starts to deteriorate pretty fast when you're not taking care of it. And that's, again, unfortunately what happened to him, but he turned it around, which is wild. He made this huge comeback. I think the first fight with Deontay Wilder was a decision. And then he won the second fight against Deontay Wilder, and then he just, put the nail in the coffin on that trilogy and just won again. And he fought a few guys in between that as well. He won them all other than the decision. So that's that is a fit fighter for sure. Go look him up. He's the Gypsy King 101 on Instagram. He's hilarious as well. You listen to any of his interviews. He's hilarious, he's smart, and he's very open about his entire journey. And he's definitely somebody to follow and somebody to look to for some inspiration on what could be done, right? This guy went from 400 pounds out of shape, no cardio at all, right? Hasn't been boxing for however long, a few years, and then completely turned it around, has better cardio, dropped over 100 pounds, and then just mowed through, I think like 5 or 6 opponents, something like that. And now he's a world champ again. It's pretty wild. So go check him out. He's a fit fighter of the week. But yes, so let's transition into, I just want to give you 2 tips or 2 steps, like 2 pillars that everybody should be kind of going towards. If you're like trying, because when there's trying to work out and lose weight and get in shape, I mean, there's so much stuff. And when you're not in it, you're not in it. And it can all be very confusing because you just think that like, oh, I just need to, eat less or change up my food or, exercise more. But then you start looking into it and it's like, oh, well, what food can I actually eat? There's a bunch of different conflicting diets. There's a bunch of different conflicting exercises that you could be doing, different types of programs. Cardio, should I do cardio? Should I do weightlifting? How am I going to be able to do this, right? That's kind of what, it can be very easy to just be lost in the sea of all this. A lot of it's conflicting data or just conflicting points of views, really. The science is pretty much there, and then there's just people trying to gain clout by being contrarians in some sort of way. So I just want to give you just 2 things that you should just always stay true to. 2 things that you should always just, while you're on this journey, just make sure these 2 areas are solid, and you should be good. you should be, I mean, you got to figure out all the rest of the little details, which that's what my YouTube channel is for, is to try to pinpoint all these little minute things that kind of pop up to help you along with that. But this is more, what I'm talking about right now is more of that big picture, which is the big picture steps. It's when you just have it, these two things completely separated from everything else. In this larger sense, it just makes it a lot easier to know what to focus on and what not to focus on. So I think these two steps are going to be pretty good for anybody trying to lose weight. Now, the first step is like you need to have a framework. You need to build some sort of frame for yourself. So within this frame, within this frame, you're working within, right? But you can think of it as a vehicle. You need to get from point A to B, you got to be in a vehicle. And so the vehicle is diet and exercise program. You need to make sure that you have a diet program and that you stick to it, right? Not no nonchalant, like maybe some days I'm keto, some days I'm calorie restriction. Maybe some days I'm going to be doing the werewolf diet. Right? There is a werewolf diet. It's like based off the phases of the moon. You know, some days you're going to be doing that. Maybe another day you're going to be vegan. There's none of that. Okay. You can the whole process of finding the correct diet for yourself for a lot of people is going to be trial and error and trying out a bunch of diets. But if you're trying to get serious, for a year to 2 years, you got to stick to one specific diet. So you got to choose that diet, and not to flip flop around. Maybe if some study comes out on the diet that you chose, right? If you chose some nonsense diet and then some study comes out and says yeah, this diet is nonsense, and you're wasting your time with it, then change it. But for the most part, if you just choose a combination of intermittent fasting, a reduction in sugar and carbohydrate intake, while also restricting your calories, that diet, if there's a word for it, it's not really there, but maybe it'd be a mix between intermittent fasting, the Mediterranean diet, and calorie restriction. When you go Mediterranean diet's been studied, Mediterranean diet's been shown to be very healthy for pretty much everybody. The food that's in there cuts out a lot of nonsense. It's very low sugar. You get some meats in there. You get some oils in there. It's a very tasty diet. So I would suggest that one. But that one's been well studied. And then intermittent fasting has been well studied to help you burn more fat. And then the calorie restrictions, again, been well studied to just make sure that you're not getting too much calories, so you're not gaining weight or staying stagnant. So being in a caloric deficit. So if you combine those three things, you should be good. But you got to make sure, you can choose whatever you want. You want to go vegan? You want to try that? I mean, go ahead. You want to try the keto? Fun fact, Tyson Fury, to help him lose the weight, he actually did the ketogenic diet. Ketogenic diet is problematic, as the kids say, for a lot of people, right? It's very hard to adhere to a ketogenic diet. I've done the ketogenic diet. Again, it's very difficult I did the ketogenic diet before all these MCT bars are out there, all these fats are out there. Before it was cool, I tried it. So it's definitely difficult then. It's a little bit easier now, but it's still drastically different type of diet than most people are accustomed to. And there's also, people reducing carbs to a near zero amount might not be the best thing. So it's conflicting, right? But if you want to do it, go ahead and do it, okay? I'm not saying don't do that, but you got to pick it, okay? Within your framework, you have to pick a diet and you have to stick to it. And you have to be this is going to be my diet for at least a year or two, right? So again, what I would suggest is doing something like the Mediterranean diet and intermittent fasting and restricting your calories for a year or two and being very stringent on that. But you pick the diet to help you not worry about, well, what diet am I going to do today? Well, what about this new study about this other diet? Even though I've been doing this one for 3 weeks or 5 weeks or whatever, I'm going to switch over to this one. And then you see another diet later on and you're like, well, I'll go switch to that one. Eliminate all of that. All right. Spend some time on the YouTubes if you want. Spend some time on Google if you want, researching diets. See which one is going to fit your needs and what you want to try out or what you're attracted to. Spend some time doing that, or hire a personal trainer and see what they say and just take their advice, or listen to me, But basically what you have to do is you have to go out on your own. You got to figure it out and you got to pick a diet. So again, you can just kind of eliminate like kind of what you're going to be eating throughout the day. Like the first couple weeks, first month, really the first couple weeks when you're trying to identify which food you're going to be eating and how much food you're going to be eating, that's definitely going to be pretty intense and you're going to be paying attention a lot. But after that, once you get a little bit more familiar with it, then everything's going to be a lot more, on that subconscious level, which is going to be a better level for you. And that's you working within that framework. You're working within a diet that has been proven to work, right? That's what you should be looking for, not looking for the moon phase diet or anything like that. You're trying to lose weight within a diet that works, so that's great. And then you can just let your mind free and you can just focus on, then you move to the next thing, which is, okay, now what? Well, how do I stick to the diet? Now you're focused on, instead of focusing on what you're going to eat and how are you going to keep on eating these things, you already know what you're going to eat. Now you can just focus your attention on how can you keep eating these things and how can you stay in a caloric deficit and whatever it is. So identify a diet and stick with it. This is all simple, right? This is like, if you're listening to a bunch of videos to try to lose weight, everybody's talking about this. Okay, all I'm talking about is this big picture thing that is kind of like, to some people, like a no duh, but I can definitely see how, a lot of people can just kind of overlook these simple things, which is why I'm trying to convey them right now. So same thing with the diet. You got to move that over to the exercise program. Again, tried and true, proven things are weightlifting, cardio exercises, stretching, things like that. The exercise program is pretty standard. That's definitely not complicated at all. Anything that gives you a healthy mix of weightlifting and cardio and stretching and resting and all of that stuff, it's going to be good for you. You don't have to, anything that lasts between 30 to 90 minutes that incorporates those things, it's going to be good for you. So you don't, if you're listening to a bunch of different influencers and you're trying to figure out which one you're going to choose, choose the one that has that healthy mix, right? But you got to choose that as well. And this one could be, it could be a little bit difficult finding an exercise program because there's so many out there. But you got to choose it, right? You can't, definitely, I would say stay away from powerlifting workout plans, anything like that, anything specialized like bodybuilding. Hey, you want to bodybuild, lose some weight a little bit first, drop some pounds and then maybe start focusing on the bodybuilding because it's just different types of exercises. So I would say, within this framework, identify the diet, identify the exercise program, and then just be done with it. All right. You have the diet, you have the exercise program, you did your research. These things should work. And for the most part, like, you're going to be good. For the most part, the unscrupulous characters, the shady characters that are in the fitness world, for most people with more than anybody that's using more than 10% of their brain can really kind of see who is being that kind of shady person. So those are easy to identify and easy to stay away from. Everybody else, especially today, you can see a lot of people are actually just trying to help people out. Like, there's a lot of people talking about fitness and giving out workout plans and diet information, and they're just trying to help you out. and a lot of them go off of science. So for the most part nowadays, which is great for anybody trying to lose weight, a lot of the information is going to be pretty good for the most part. And again, you're going to have some people who just like to stir stuff up and who just like to stay on the fringe of things and maybe be controversial in the sense of like, just saying some wild stuff to get some clicks. But again, those people are pretty obvious. But yeah, identify. So when you're like going through, you're in month 3, month 6 of trying to lose weight, and you're starting to lose focus on what you're doing, and you're starting to get a little bit confused, and you're starting to get a little bit downtrodden, maybe revert back to this step. Like, am I within my diet and am I within my exercise program? And then go from there. You're pretty much going to get a lot of your answers from there. If you ask yourself, am I doing the diet that I set out to do? And you go, well, it looks like only 60% of the week I am actually doing the diet, but there's another 40% that I'm not doing the diet. So there's the issue right there. So it's an easy way to identify the issue. Is like, am I on the diet? Am I not on the diet? Get on the diet. Am I exercising like I should be to help me burn fat and gain some strength? No, I'm not. All right. So it's very easy to identify the actual problem that you are having, not just this whole, again, you can kind of get thrown into this chaotic scene and, maybe it's like the fog of war and you don't really know what's going on. That can happen for people. Okay. Especially when you're just waking up at 6 a.m. after 3 months of trying to lose weight. Your body aches all the time. Your energy levels are all over the place. Your emotions are everywhere. And you can't even turn to the food that has brought you comfort for so long. So it's an issue, right? It's a pain in the ass. But if you have this framework, this first step, I think it's going to help get you on track. And then try focusing on improving your sleep, improving your rest, but having this just larger things. Focusing on, am I on a diet? Am I on an exercise program? Yes, no, whatever it is. And that's going to be the answer to a lot of your problems with trying to lose weight. The next step is, okay, you already have the diet and exercise program. So what do you need to focus on next? Since all that framework is already laid out, that schedule is already placed, all you have to do for step 1, after you set everything up and know everything that's going on, all you got to do is plug yourself in. All you got to do is show up every single day to those things, and then you're going to be inside this machine that's just going to push, that's going to spit you out as a person with less weight on you, right? So that's what's going to happen in step 1. And then step 2, as far as how your mind's going to shift, what you need to focus on within this framework, right? On how to kind of make sure that you're doing everything that you can within that framework is, so I'm trying to stay focused, is to never stop trying. And you always got to move forward and improve, which again, this is very simplistic. I get it. But if you're focusing on dieting and exercising, that's great. That's what you need to do to lose weight, right? That's 2 major things. And then the next thing that you need to focus on is you need to focus on not stopping, right? You need to you need to cultivate a mindset that keeps on persevering and keeps on going. So you have to adopt this mindset of adapting and improving and looking for improvements on ways you can keep on going. So, if you find yourself 6 weeks in and you're still doing the same, like if you're still doing, because the workouts you're doing 6 weeks in are going to be the same workouts you do the first week and the same workouts you're going to be doing in week 52 and week 70. I mean, it's going to be the same thing, right? So, that can become very boring and you can become very complacent within that. So to make sure that you're not doing that, you also have to ask yourself every day, every week, every month, You got to check up on yourself often. Am I trying my best? And am I trying to improve? And am I trying to move forward? This is a mindset that is going to actually help you move forward and get through this whole entire thing. Is looking for these improvements. Like if you are doing an exercise like cable flies or something like that. If you're doing an exercise like cable flies and you find yourself in week 6 or week 15 and you look back, let's say week 15, and you look back and you see that you're doing the weight that you're doing the same amount of sets, which is what you should be doing. You should be doing the same amount of sets, but you're also doing the same amount of weight, which is an issue. And you're also doing the same amount of repetitions. No matter who you are, if you've been doing this same exercise 2 or 3 times per week for whatever, 15 weeks, whatever I said, and you're doing it and you're eating healthy and all this, you're getting rest, you're on the diet and everything else, you should be able to cable fly with more weight or be able to do that same weight with much more repetitions, right? But what should happen is you should have more weight and you should be able to even do more weight at higher repetitions after that long of time. And if you're not doing that, then I would say that something is definitely wrong. If you're not seeing that improvement. And one of the things that really just boils down to is people get complacent in the gym. People just get inside their program, get inside their framework, but they don't try to up. You know, if you have a personal trainers is what they kind of help you do, is they help you keep upping it. They reformulate your program after every however long, after every 6 weeks or 8 weeks, they go, okay, now you're stronger and you're able to do more. So I'm going to shift over your workout. I'm going to change some things up to make it more difficult. And that's what you got to do to make sure that you keep on upping the level so you can actually lose weight in the gym, you know, from exercising. If you just, if you just only jog for 5 minutes a day, every single day for, 5 years, I mean, you might be in a reasonable shape, I guess. I mean, I would like to see what somebody looks like for only jogging 5 minutes a day for 5 years. I would say if that's all you do, it's not going to be great because it's just 5 minutes. So you have to improve. You have to lengthen the time that you jog. You need to grow into being able to run. So you need to focus on what I'm trying to say is just improve and just keep on trying. These are, again, very simple things that you just need to just make sure you're doing. When you try to give up, when you think you want to give up, that should put off an alarm in your brain that says, hey, I should be trying to not give up. I should be trying to move forward. You should always have this counterbalance going on in your brain because throughout this entire time, a lot of times you're going to want to give up. So if you don't know that this is going to come up and you just go, why do I want it? Because a lot of people think that, the people who are very fit, who have been working out, or the people who have lost 100 pounds, maybe Tyson Fury, a lot of people think that person to be there never thinks about quitting. And then when you're trying to like emulate them and try to walk in their same footsteps, but then you find yourself wanting to quit, you can think of that as a negative, like, oh no, I'm wrong. I'm broken. And this is a problem that I'm experiencing that they're not experiencing. And that can throw you off. But what should be known is that everybody wants to quit at one point or another, no matter what it is. Most of us go way too, we think we can do much more than what we actually can. And we kind of get ourselves into some deep waters sometimes and we got to swim out, right? Tyson Fury, I believe he recorded this running video saying, or I think he recorded a video, or he said to himself, it's something like this, where he said it to himself or he recorded it, but either way, he said it to where he said, I'm going to become the world champion again. I'm going to come back and I'm going to do this. I'm going to win. And he was very pumped up about it. And he's like, this is going to happen. And then he went out to run and he couldn't make it past the block. And it was a complete like shot to his ego, complete shock to him. And he's like, what? And of course he wanted to give up then. Being faced with reality like that in such an abrupt way, I'm going to become world champion, but then not being able to run past the block. Huge ego blow. And what Tyson Fury clearly did is that he, dusted it off from the past and realized, oh, I got to keep on trying and I got to keep on trying to improve. So these are just like mental tools that everybody needs to cultivate to be able to lose weight. You need the perseverance. I mean, that's just what it is. It's not an easy thing to lose weight. Over 80% of people fail at losing weight. Some people think it's like 95% fail at losing weight. So it's clearly extremely difficult. There's people who fail at things and then they just kind of kick it away. They just go, okay, I'm done here. Nothing to see here. And then they just walk away and you never see them again. All right. Sometimes, it is what it is. And maybe that's not for them. But when it comes to like health and fitness, we all have bones, we all have muscles, tendons, fingers, skin. We all have relatively the same gear. We're all humans, right? Some of us are, dealt a terrible hand and are born into disease and disabilities and things like that, right? Which is a bummer. But, speaking generally for over like 80% of the probably 90% of the population, most of us are born into these, bodies that we have. And one thing that science has shown is that these bodies, what science and people have shown is that our bodies are capable of doing some pretty crazy things, especially when it comes to health and fitness. It pretty much seems that if we do treat our bodies well by giving it the nutrients that it wants and needs, the minerals it wants and needs, the vitamins it wants, and we exercise it, we strain it, we make our bodies sweat, we do prolonged aerobic exercise, it seems that our bodies love this and they actually grow not only like physically stronger, like we're able to lift more weights, we're able to do more. Our torso is stronger, our lower back strengthens up so we don't have as much lower back problems, but also even our immune system improves, and even just the inner workings of our body improve. Our inflammation goes down so we're not prone to as many diseases. This is brought about from dieting and exercising. So, and this happens across the board for everybody. If you do these things for a prolonged period of time, you can reap these same benefits. And then there's countless examples. You look at any fit fighter of the week that I showed you, the inner workings, how long it takes for the inner workings of our bodies to switch over. I think that still remains to be seen a little bit, but as far as like physically, you can see that people can lose 100 to 200 pounds. So when I'm talking about these things, the dieting and exercising, always trying to keep on going and improving, it's really attainable for everybody, right? So if you quit and you say health and fitness isn't for me, that doesn't really jive with reality too much, because it's really for over 90% of the people, other than the unfortunate people who are just, again, dealt a bad hand. But for most other people, even if you find yourself wildly overweight, you can get that weight down to, some semblance of normalcy. And what is normal? I get it. It's what's normal. You got to be body positive, Rob. And I am body positive, right? I'm just saying, there's just data out there that just suggests that generally, if you are a certain height and you weigh a certain amount for a certain amount of time and you have a certain amount of fat percentage, then you are at a higher risk for diabetes, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, early death, heart disease, breathing problems, mobility problems. And this is all based off the science, like studies, and it's also based off just visually and experience and just experiencing, being in the presence of people that are, in these categories. So that's all I'm saying. All right. And if you find yourself in that category, you can bring it back. And if you want to bring it back, focus on just these two steps, right? It's like a step 1A and 1B, and then step 2. Step 1A is just get a diet program and stick to it. It's really that simple. Get a diet program, figure it out. I got one on my website if you want, but actually, no, I don't. I will have one on my website, but they're all over the place, right? You can look up dieting. If you're not in it, I get it, but dieting is extremely simple. Like when I just tell you, hey, do intermittent fasting, all that is I would suggest a 16-8 method, which all it is just eat 8 hours throughout the day, fast for the other 16 hours of the day, right? Or you can do a little bit less than that. You can eat for I would say you can eat for 10 hours a day and fast for 14 hours of the day. That's fine too. But that's very simple. That's a very simple thing to do. It's part of your diet is skipping breakfast and only eating 10 hours a day and then fasting the rest. Very simple. Mediterranean diet, it's very simple. All you got to do is Google Mediterranean diet and things to eat on it, what you can and can't eat. Boom. There you have it. Very simple. Calorie restriction, part of the diet. You just got to add up the amount of calories that you're eating throughout the day, get a fitness tracker or estimate how many calories that you're burning each day, and then move the numbers around to make sure that you are eating less calories than you are burning. It's very simple. Okay. So these things are, again, if you're not in it, it can get a little complex and it's just, but I'm just telling you, I'm in it. And if you just follow these things over a prolonged period of time, it's going to work. If you have that diet already set, you're inside this framework with the diet, then your inner body, your energy levels, the nutrient levels that your body needs, that's already taken care of as long as you adhere to it. But that's all taken care of. You just got to show up every day and make sure you're following it, eating the right things and not eating the bad things. And then the exercise program, extremely simple. You just got to get in there and start clanging and banging. You just got to start moving some weight, grabbing some cables, picking up some kettlebells, maybe picking up some dumbbells, maybe trying to squat a little bit. You can do all body weight exercises if you want. You can just go into a gym, grab a mat, start doing some squats, start trying to put your knees on the ground and start doing some knee push-ups. You can just stand there and start, doing arm circles, right? That's all very simple. Clearly, though, you need a workout program, which is what I'm trying to say, is because you can just find yourself going in there and just doing arm circles, which I think is great to just first get yourself in there. That's fine. But you do have to have the program because arm circles isn't just going to be the thing that helps you lose weight. So that's why I just suggest get that workout program lined up, get it in the back of your mind to where you're going throughout your workout and you're not really trying to figure out what you should be doing next. You already know what you're doing next. So you can just focus on, again, not trying to find the equipment, find the exercise, find the body part that you want to work out. Instead of doing all that, that's already in there. You've already done it a few times. You know what to do. And you can just focus on, okay, last time I was here, I did 40 pounds and I did 10 repetitions. This week I want to do 45, maybe 50 pounds, and I want to do maybe 8 to 10 repetitions. And then you're just focusing on that and trying to do that. So it makes that whole process easier. So that's side B of step 1. And then just step 2 is just trying to make sure that you just cultivate that mind of always trying, always, because you're going to fail a bunch of times. Everybody fails a bunch of times trying to do this. So if you cultivate the mindset of, okay, failure, what comes after a failure? Not ice cream. Ice cream doesn't come after a failure anymore. That's what it used to come after. Not anymore if you're trying to lose weight. What comes after failure is what? Trying again. Okay. And then also a caveat to that, I guess this is step B as well. Maybe I should have made 4 tips. Maybe this should be a 4-pillar kind of building, but I didn't make that. And we got step 1A and step 1B, and now we got step 2A and step 2B. Is this a homework assignment? I'm sorry. I apologize. But the step B part of it is to improve. And this is just to make sure that you don't get complacent. Because again, the complacency inside the gym runs rampant, especially if you don't have a personal trainer, because you could have the exercise program and if it doesn't show that you should be improving and that you should be grabbing heavier weights and doing more repetitions possibly, if it doesn't already have that built in there, then you could really be kind of wasting some time, right? You can get to a relatively decent level of fitness, some level of fitness, but then you're just going to stagnate, which is just not good. What comes after stagnation is usually some sort of a dip. So we don't want that. But yeah, that's just the tips I want to give y'all this week. I always think that this thing takes like 20 minutes. Like I was just going to say, so this is a quick episode today. Apparently it's been like 40 minutes. All right. So this is going to be like this is a medium episode today. But yeah, and I didn't, that is the episode though. All right. Thank you all for coming by. I don't have a fit freak of the week for you because to be honest, I just really, to find the fit fighter of the week, I got to scroll through Instagram and look at a lot of sad people who take way too many pictures of themselves. And it really gets me bummed out before I do this podcast to just look at all these people, just dummies. No, sorry. But you just look at all these people and it's just very, trying to get clout on the Instagram and trying to just get so much attention. They're so desperate for it. It's just so sad. I'm getting depressed thinking about it right now. So I didn't want to do that this week to find the fit freak. I apologize. I would say a fit freak is you're looking at him, right? No, who would be a fit freak? I told you all about George St. Pierre. He's great. Laird Hamilton's great. Who is great? Nathan Florence. I told you about Nathan Florence. He's great. David Goggins is great. Cameron Haynes is great. Courtney DeWalter. I don't know if I told you that. Maybe I'll save her for later. But if you're looking for some inspiration, somebody who's a fit freak, go look up Courtney DeWalter, DAUW Walter or something like that. She is a ultra runner who just runs forever, and she's smoking all the competition. I don't know if she still is. At least she was last time I checked, just smoking all the competition, like finishing hours before all the other competitors. And she is in a mixed gender competition. So she's finishing hours in front of the men, which I'm not saying anything here. All I'm saying is that typically when you have mixed genders competing, typically the men find themselves, somewhere near the podium. But in this instance, right, and then in other areas, okay, I'm not saying anything. Don't try to cancel me. I'm not saying anything at all right? All I'm just trying to highlight is the fact that Courtney DeWalter is this beast of a runner, beast of a woman who finishes hours before her second place competitor, which happens to be either a man or a woman. Yeah, I think that's great. So definitely go check her out. Maybe I'll put a more dedicated time on her sometime in the future. But either way, that's the episode. Thank you for coming by today, and Have a good rest of your week.